Hello everyone, welcome back to Lindsay's Builds. So yeah, I was a bit bored. So yeah, thought we'd come and have an hour and a half with you and do a bit more to this Exorcist. So yeah, I did find that part. Fell on the floor into my photo at scrap box. So I've got it now. So we'll go down camera and we'll get some work done. So we're just edging all this bit in. This is where we'd start doing all the fine work. So I've got Scale Model Ninja in. It says, "Evening, old man." Yeah, there's Scale Model Ninja. Ross, how you doing? Jeff Light in. It says, "Hi, Lindsay." Hi there, Jeff and Maggie. Hope you're good. He also says, "Hi, Ross." Scale Model Ninja says, "Hi, Jeff." What are you up to, Ross? Much? Lost where I was. Okay. Start again. It's dry and quick, this is. Very, very quick. Ninja says, "Busy writing my assignment for university." Cool. Jeff Light says, "Great to hear that you found that missing part." Yeah, it was right down on the other side of the bench, and I've got a scrap bin there for photo etching. It was all among, it was in there. It fell in there. God knows how it got in there. I was hunting high and low, and I thought, oh no. But yeah, we've got it now. It's a very important part, that is. I knew it had to be in here somewhere. Okay, Scamol Ninja says, "And cooking dinner. You got anything nice for dinner, Ross?" Yeah, yeah, Jeff. Luckily, Roxy didn't find it. Yeah, because she'd have been chewing it. Mind you, saying that, she's never ever done anything like that here. It's chewed on anything. She's never been a chewer except for her toys, and she rags them. Totally rags them. Ross says, "Having pork chop and roasted potatoes, cauliflower cheese, carrot and broccoli." Nice. JC Bricks and Builds is in. Hello there, James. How are you? And he says, "Evening, Lindsay and all in chat. Welcome in, James." Jeff Light says, "Hi, JC." JC Bricks and Builds says, "Hey, Jeff." Scarmoller Ninja says, "Hey up, Princess SpongeBob." I knew that was coming. So there's me all being nice to JC, and then Ross comes in with that. Saved me doing it, didn't it? Catch up with the chat again in a minute. I'll see it moving. Well, I had for my dinner, I had roast beef, carrots, broccoli, mashed potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, stuffing, and gravy with the beef. My daughter cooked it. It was absolutely yummy. Okay, right, let's see if we can catch up with this. JC says, "Hey up, Ross." JC also says, "Not too bad, same stuff, different day as normal, laugh out loud." And we've got Sophie in, she says, "Biscuits." So Scarmoller Ninja says, "Hi, Soph." Sophie says, "Lindsay." Hello there, Sophie. Sophie says, "Hi, Scarmoller Ninja." Yeah, I was a bit bored, so I thought I'll come and pester YouTube. So I couldn't see anybody about. Not that I'm subscribed to anyway. So Sophie says, "Hi JC." She also says hi to Jeff. Ninja says, "How's the Black Pearl Space Marines coming along?" That's to Sophie. Yeah, she's making quite a good job of them actually, Ross. It's doing good, doing good. JC says, "Hi Sophie." Sophie says, "I have started Infamous Black Pearl Space Marines number 3. So she's on number 3. I actually forgot to paint this bit black when I did the black. But hey ho. Well, I say forget. I didn't look at the paint plan, did I? So right. Athel says, "Oh, them blueberry muffins sure are tasty, Lindsay. Evening, folks. Have you been eating blueberry muffins?" You didn't offer me none, Athel. Sophie says, "Hi, Athel." Athel says, "Hi, Sophie, Ross, Jeff, the lady of the pit stops, Maggie." I'm going to tuck into some cherry cake for supper before I go to bed. Cherry cake, yummy. Can't beat a bit of cherry cake. Sophie says, is it me or is it getting colder at night? Yeah, I've got my heating on, Sophie. Because it is damn cold here. I'll hear the kids moaning in a minute. Oh, got the heating on. She'll have to turn it off soon though, because it doesn't take long to get hot in here. Keep it on for about half an hour and then you just switch it off. It stays toasty for a little while. Toasty, toasty. Okay, Apple says Morello cherries, one of my favourite fruits with ice cream and custard. Sophie says cherry bakewell. Oh God, cherry bakewells, man, they are exquisite, absolutely exquisite. Scott's Model's in and he says good morning everyone. Good morning Scott, welcome in. JC says good day Scott. Sophie says good day Scott. Apple says good morning Scott the Skippy. Scott the Bushwhacker. What's the weather like where you are, Scott? Catch up with the chat in a minute. Sophie says back in Mo, just got to block an idiot on Messenger. Okay, no worries. I don't have that problem. It's been a long time since I've blocked somebody on Messenger. Good few years. I think the dog's going to start snoring. Noise. Heat must be sending her to sleep. She's been mooching all day. She's moved again.
Huh?
Has the dog moved off the bed?
Ages ago. When I came down, she came down.
Alright. Sorry about that, I was talking to my daughter.
Roxy, where are you?
Okay.
Dad, you haven't trapped her anywhere, have you?
I am streaming noise.
If this dog is outside, Dad.
Okay. Scott says no sun yet, but it's peaking. Sophie says back again. Right. I'll do the last coat on that. This side and go do the other side, and then I'll be ready to do the red. Thank you, Louise. It's like a madhouse in here. I suppose it's entertainment. David Mark is in. Evening, David Markey. Welcome in. And he also says evening, folks. And he says hello, Ross. He also right. Okay. Sophie says hi, David. David Markey says hello, Jeff and Maggie. Apple says evening, David M. David M says hello, JC. He also says hello, Alicia. JC says hi, David. David Markey says hello, Sophie. David Markey says hello, Apple. And also he says hello, Scott. It's dried up that quick, I can't see where I've been. Well, I hope you've had all a good day. So, I know I have today. It's been a good day. Okay. David Mockett says hello, Scott. Sophie says homemade dark chocolate muffins for everyone. Ooh. David Marcus says lovely, thank you, Sophie. Sophie says, are Tamiya brushes good? Yes, they are. I've never faulted Tamiya brushes. You'll get to know what's quality and what isn't after a while, Sophie. So it's been a long time since I bought any Tamiya brushes. Very long time. But I mean, you know, I'm just going from experience. They was always a good brush. So I'll do the last coat this side. Apple says, is Lindsay was dinner plentiful with roast veggies, leftovers for tomorrow's sarnies? Whatever's left is going to get fried up. I've got some potato left, some veg left. I'm going to have fried potatoes, well, bubble and squeak as we call it, and then I'm going to lob a couple of bits of bacon in with an egg and some beans for breakfast. We've got loads of beef left over, so that will go in a stew, a beef stew or something. I mean, the beef we cooked, it was probably a dinner for 5, so there was only 2 of us because Andrew doesn't eat meat as such, if you know what I mean. So there is plenty left, so it'll get lobbed all in a stew, and we'll have dumplings with it. Stew and dumps. No waste in this house. That's for sure. Catch Buttercup with a chat in a minute. Right, Joffrey's in. Welcome in, Joffrey. And he says, good evening, Lindsay and chat. Nice to see you. Joffrey says, we meet again. We sure do. Sophie says, hi, Joffrey. Apple says, evening, Joffrey. Joffrey says, Apple and Sophie, hi. Sophie says, bubble and squeak. You can't beat it, can you? David Barkey says, hello, Mr. Joffrey. Apple says, road trip to Lindsay's. Then, yeah, road trip to Lindsay's. Joffrey says, hi, David. Sophie says, pops down to Lindsay's kitchen. Yes. Sprue and Glue's in. Welcome in, Sprue and Glue. Then he says, hi, Lindsay and chat. Apple says, evening, Sprue. It's nice to see all these peeps in. Very nice. Thank you. So what did chat have for dinner today? I'll have to go and turn this heating off in a minute. I'm sweating. Okay. Apple says evening, Sprue. David Markey says hello, David. Joffrey says hi, Sprue. Sprue and Glue's got the big pink waving hands. Sprue and Glue says, did you find the weapon, Lindsay? I did. And it was it's here. There it is. And it was down here, the other side of my bench, in my photo etch scrap box. That's where I found it. Right. I had all this area completely all upside down, looking for it. Absolutely. Scott's model says, give me about 13 months and I will get there for the road trip. Yes. Sprue and Glue says, oh wow. Right, I'm just going to go turn this heating off, guys. I'm back in a minute. The back. Right. Right, this bit's always a challenge. I know when I did the other one, yeah, that was quite a challenge. Apple says dinner started off as fried rice with char siu pork, but ended up somewhat soggy, so it became soup. Sweet was apple pies and coffee. Sophie says hi sprue. Sophie says bench infamous Black Pearl Space Marines belly Maltesers beverage Star Perem. Never heard of that before. Spoon Glow said we had roast gammon, joint, roast mash, pots and cabbage and gravy. Nice. I think this red might be a bit too bright. We'll see. If not, I'll use the other red. See how it goes. Spoon Glues. Oh, I've already read that, haven't I? Yes. You already read it. This red's a little bit too bright. Gesundheit. I think that Methystone red would be better. It might darken down when put a few more coats on, but it might even go brighter. It's more of a, I don't know, how can I put it, more of a pinky red, this one. If you hear any swearing in the background, I do apologise, it's him on his computer. I thought he was watching TV. Obviously not. Hey ho, we'll persevere. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to use that methystone red, because this is too bright. This is more of an orangey red, not pinky red, orangey red. So I'll just finish this coat with this colour. I'll use methystone over the top of it. Okay. Sophie says, Sophie Posh, Sophie has a pouch of Draper files. Apple says, when painting red, I always start with the Conehorn red as a base coat, then use what you're using, Lindsay, or similar from Vallejo Fire Dragon Red. Right. Well, I think I'm going to use this as a base for first coat, Apple, and then I'll use the methystone. Because they're the only reds I've got, actually. Well, I've got another red, but it's absolutely bright red. If you know what I mean. This is a bit too, it's like an orangey red. It's not bad looking, but yeah, it's getting there. Why are you shutting up, Sophie? Keep the chat going. The more chat there is, the better it is. Okay, no more chat at the moment. Okay, that's the first coat on that side. We'll do the same this side. Just clean that up a bit. Get raggy out. Raggy likes to come out and play every now and again. Raggy is Mark's mod's friend. Yeah, Mark and Raggy are going to get hitched. Do you, Mark's mods, take Raggy to be your lawful wedded wife? I do. No more chat yet? Guys. Gotta give me something to do. And now promounce Raggy and Mark's mods, man and wife. He'll kill me. Hang me from the yard on. Sophie says, I learned how to make a homemade wet palette. Cool, nice. David Marcus says, as you hear, Mark's crashing through the window and escaping abroad. Raggy's been jilted at the altar. 8 viewers now. Come to think about it, I think Mark's on with the Nexus, isn't he? Yeah, we had a pretty good live stream this afternoon, didn't we, guys? Not bad, not bad. Pretty good. People enjoyed it. That's the main thing. Sophie says, my homemade wet palette is a plastic tray and 2 sheets of paper kitchen roll. Yeah, why not? As long as the job works, Sophie, that's the main thing. I don't use a wet palette. I have a pot of water and my paint. So, nearly got the first coat of this on. Okay, so that's the first coat. Get it a bit further. First coat of red. Right. I'm going to change that red now. Go to Methystone. Where are you? There we go. It's a bit darker. Jeff Light says hi, Sophie. Sophie says hi, Jeff. Jeff Light says hi, Athol. Jeff Light says good day, Scott. Sophie says, I'm learning about the hobby. Yes, you're always learning, my love. Scott's Model says, hi Jeff and Maggie. Geoffrey says, I'm building tiny PE ladders rung by rung on my Bismarck. It requires patience, high level concentration and focus. I don't envy you at all. That does require focus. Jeff Light says, hi David M. Jeff Light says, hi Geoffrey. David Markey says, Sophie, experiment by adding a sheet of grease-proof paper on the top for the paints. There you go. There's another tip for you. Geoffrey says, oh, hi there, Jeff. Sophie says, no apologies for me asking silly questions. No, there is never, ever a silly question, Sophie. You're learning about the hobby. Ask away to the chat or me, whatever. Lots of modelers in that chat. Everybody has their own techniques, and then you just try them. Whatever works best for you. That's better. That's a better colour. It's much better. Jeff Light says, hi Spiranaki, if about. Jeff Light says, hi to anyone that I've inadvertently missed. Geoffrey says, I have this thing, when I have to do detail work, my hands will start trembling. It's a nuisance. Yeah. Oh, I feel for you there, buddy. It happens to me. And you think, why now? Especially when you're trying to put tiny photo etch on a ship. Or if you're making Bofors or AA guns in photo etch, that's a nightmare when your hands start shaking about. It's like doing the okie-kokie with your hands. Luckily enough, I've got quite steady hands today. I wouldn't be able to do this if I had shaky hands at all. Definitely not. because I have to get in like little creases and everything else without getting it all over on the bit that's got to be white or gold. Because trying to put white over the top of red is a nightmare to cover. That's definitely a thing. Catch up with the chat in a minute. So let me do this bit here. Dropped a bit of red on that black, I'll have to touch that up. Okay, so that's a little bit better. It's a bit darker now, that's better. Okay, let's catch up with this chat if I can. Joffrey says, yes, I popped into Mark's before I went here. Joffrey says, easiest way to stop the jitters is to put a rubber band around your wrist, and when the jitters start, twang it a few times till it subsides. Joffrey says, thanks, Apple. Jeff Light says, that's a good tip to remember, Apple. David Markey says, looks nice, Lindsay, thank you. This is where the build comes alive, when you start pulling all this detail out of it. I've just done that side, haven't I? So it's this side. This will probably need about 3 or 4 coats. So 11 people back again. Thank you. I remember when I first come on YouTube, and the first video I ever did, God, I was like a kid starting a brand new school. So nervous, it was unbelievable. My stomach was actually churning. And then my first live stream was even worse. Okay, nothing there yet. I know you're all concentrating on something, and I appreciate you being here. Or you're just sitting there chilling, watching. At least one thing. Well, there's not too much chat to read out. I don't get out of breath and start coughing.
I can't use left-handed scissors. I'm in this one, yeah? Oh, sorry. These two, yeah? Oh. It wasn't on a 5-finger slip. Which isn't very good when it's cold and I'm doing things that are a bit gross. I have to stay away from sticky beer.
Sophie says, such relaxing live stream. Thank you. Apple says, actually, I am filing down my big toenail. Oh, wow. Apple. I bet you got an industrial file on them as well. One of them, what they call them, wrapper files. Wrap file.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's being honest, isn't it? I hate it when people pick their toenails and flick them across the room. I always know when the kids have been doing that, because when I hoover up, they end up hoovering up toenails or fingernails. Minging. Well, that has to be a first, that apple. I've never had anybody say that in one of my live streams. That's hilarious. Definitely hilarious. That's no questions, don't get told no lies, eh? Okay. David Markey says with a chainsaw apple. Sophie says want to borrow one of my nail files, apple. Jeff Light says what with apple? An angle grinder. Apple says I use a mini Dremel, especially made for toenails. Then as a final cleansing, I'll give it a rub down with sandpaper. Oh wow. Mark's mod is in. He said, good evening, guys. Jeff Light says hi, Mark. Oh, you broke me, Jeff. Oh, dear. Oh, wow. Oh, my stomach hurts now. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Jeff Light says hi, Mark. Mark's mod says hi, Jeff and Maggie. Sophie says hi, Mark. Apple says evening, Maraggy. It says hello. David Marcus says hello. Mark's mod says hi, Sophie, and he says hi, Apple, and hello, David. Oh, wow. Oh, my eyes are still running, they're streaming. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you definitely got to have a laugh, Jeff. Oh, dear. Oh, I think that's the best one yet. Excuse me, my nose is running now. Oh yeah, definitely Sophie. Sorry about the nose blowing. It's Jeff's fault. Oh dear. Apple says, see now, that brightened up your evening, guys. Twanging nails go flying. Helicopters. Oh dear. Sophie says homemade chopped chip cookies for everyone. Pass them round. It's been a long while since I laughed like that. I'll have to call out Half-All the helicopter man now. It's got a new nickname. Did you have a good stream, Mark? Avril says your laughing stopped. The background chat from your offspring wondering what you're laughing at. Yeah. I would imagine they would thought I was insane or something. Sophie says I paid 75p for one packet of polos this morning. Wow, 75p. God, I remember when they were only 10p. 75p, man. Jesus. That's absolutely ridiculous. We'll just give that another couple of minutes this side to dry. Because I want to get the red finished before I do the gold and the white, because I've got to do this piece here, that's got to be in gold around here, and then these bits are white here, here, here and here, and then there's a little bit inside that's white as well, and this bit's gold. I think these bits are gold. Yeah, these bits are gold as well. Sophie says you don't get much for your money these days. No, you definitely don't. Jeff Light says being sane is just too boring. Yeah, definitely. He's certainly brightened up my night, Jeff, anyway. Definitely. There was some good comments there from you and David Markey and that over at Apple's toenails. I don't mind on this one because it's not the ppm, you see. We can be a bit naughty. Naughty but nice. Sophie says, don't get me started on the dad jokes, laugh out loud. You like your dad jokes, do you, Sophie? Jeff Light says, just ask our youngest granddaughter. She loves it when Grandpa is acting completely silly. If I did that in front of my grandchildren, they think I'm an idiot. I think, well, what's wrong with him? You know? Kind of look at me, gone out. They look at me as though when I need locking up in the loony bin. Do this one and then the other side, then I need to let these dry overnight. So I'll put quite a few coats on. It's kind of dry, but yeah, it needs to thoroughly dry out, and then I can see where I'm at with it. Sophie says I should get one of my tubes of Rebel contact glue carbon dated. Ew. Nice, 11 in, still 11 in. Nice guys, thank you. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I don't go in the chat, I just sit there and watch. I'm always about sometimes, but yeah, I don't always come in the chat. As people say, sit there lurking. It's 12 viewers in now. So how many of you guys out there like to fish, go fishing? I was watching my son's a YouTuber, one of my other sons, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he was fishing today, but I don't think he caught anything today. Weather was a little bit kind of funny today, I think. One minute it was raining, the next minute it wasn't. It'd be warm, then it'd turn cold and start raining. I'll share his channel if you want. Just let me do this and I'll share his channel, put it in the chat. He likes to do a bit of fishing, and sometimes he does streams of his work related stuff he does, because he's a graphics designer, and he does a bit of charity boxing, and also there's a video there of him when he did a skydive, well, parachute tandem jump when he was younger. Just do this and then I'll find it on the phone and then I'll put it in the chat. There's quite a few shorts in there as well. It's some of his catch Some of the fish are humongous. Okay. David Markey says that's old. It is Sophie. Apple says what started off as a lovely day ended up in a lashing rain for a good hour, and then after that it dried up again and temps rose. Now it's going down to 4 degrees overnight. Jeff Light says I used to go sea and river fishing but not freshwater fishing. Yeah, he does mostly lakes, big lakes. I'll just find his channel on my phone and I'll share it. You might get a bit of an echo while I'm doing it, so I do apologise for that if it happens. Copy link. Yeah, it was a skydive he did as well. Yeah, it was a skydive he did as well. Alright, that's his YouTube channel, guys. Yeah, that's one of my sons. Right. I think we can do a little bit of dry brushing while that's drying. Just trying to find some paint. Gunmetal might be a bit too dark, but sure I had another one somewhere. Here we go. Still what I want. Apple says to paraphrase Clint Eastwood, never could see the use of jumping out off a perfectly serviceable plane, but I did a para jump from 3,000 feet to qualify for my sports wings in the RAF. Nice. Raggy out. Hope you're watching that. Yeah, definitely, Mark. It definitely get a lot more dirtier. Seven and nine will be proud of Raggy. Right, what else? What's my dry brushed? All that weapon does. Wherever you are. Come on, don't tell me I lost it again. Here it is. Okay, Jeff Light says, and the more Raggy likes it. Oh yes, Raggy loves it. It's like tickling his belly. Athel says, but Mark, look at it from Raggy's point of view. The more paint he gets on him, the warmer he is. Yeah. Sophie says, can I use Tamiya Extra Thin and Tamiya Cement to glue my Space Marines? Don't think Tamiya Extra Thin will touch them because they're not. They're like ABS plastic. So I would use your ordinary Tamiya cement, but not the extra thin. Use the ordinary one, which is the second one you mentioned. Geoffrey says, I think so, Sophie. Tamiya Extra Thin's alright for a quick hold if you're doing small parts, but I would use the other Tamiya cement, the second one you mentioned. White cup. I have both. Yeah, the Tamiya Extra Thin is the thinner one of the two, isn't it? So you don't really want to use that one, use the thicker one, because it will give more bite, but you will need to give it time to dry, because Tamiya Extra Thin can bond very quickly, but sometimes it doesn't give a good bonding joint, especially for large pieces. It's alright if you just, like I said, it's alright if you're putting on small parts, that stuff, or sealing stuff, but you need to use the thicker stuff. That's that bit dry brushed. I suppose I can dry brush the tracks actually. Get them dry brush, use this paint up. Mark's Mod, you can get Tamiya ABS cement. Now that would be even better, that's ideal. Apple says I use Revel contact glue for all my space voids unless I add resin bits to them, but then I use super glue. Yeah, Revel contactor is good, that's just as good. I use it as well, Apple. It's like I say, it'll be all a little bit confusing to start with, Sophie, but you'll get there. Yes, my love. Yes, you can post. You can post them in the group. Yes, it's all model related. Ba-da-ba. A bit too much. Okay, so that's the tracks done. I need to do this front grate. What's that bit done too? Okay. Okay, Apple says, as it is, after the watershed, Lindsay, can I post my photo of Linda Lasardi and Samantha Fox when they were page 3 models? Oh, wow. I'm going in a minute anyway. I can't do the share on here actually, to be honest. Not because I'm not on StreamYard, so I can't share them anyway. But yeah, it's good thought. Sophie says I also have 3 different types of rebel glues: a tube, a bottle with a brush, and tube with a nozzle. Cute. Geoffrey says Samantha Fox laugh out loud apple. That was decades ago. Yeah, she's got more wrinkles and the motorway's got skid marks. Geoffrey says she was a great singer. Apple says but the old ones are the best. Geoffrey. Geoffrey says haha, you crack me up, Apple. Yeah. Okay, so we made a little bit of progress tonight. So we've got the tracks dry brushed. So they're done. They may be a little bit too bright actually, but it looks a lot brighter in the camera than it actually is here. You can actually see the black, but yeah, they look very shiny in the camera. And we've got a few coats of red on here. So that side and that side. This I've got to dry brush, but I'll dry brush this bit when I finish doing all the red. So because this has to be like a blacky silvery colour around there on those hinges. So yeah, so we've got a little bit of progress done. And dry brush the front push bar as well, and the two side steps, and also the weapon, the piece that I lost. So got that done as well. So we made a little bit of progress. I'll put them in the box so I don't lose them. It's like I said, the next stage I want this red to dry, and then I want to put a couple of more coats on, and then we'll go to do the crest. That'll be the next job, and do this part here as well, and then I'll start pulling all these bits out in gold, these little motifs. You can just see them right here. Maybe a bit blurry to you, but there's quite a few motifs there, just like the other one was. It's basically the same at the bottom, it's just the top half that's really different. So I've got like some brackets here to dry brush as well. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's just painstaking now of pulling all the detail out of this thing. And then when I've got all the bottom done, then I've got to set about doing the top, which has got loads of detailed parts in it. I mean, we've got like piano. There's like an organ thing in here that's got all the piano keys in it, and then there's another row of piano keys that's got to be glued in. But I can't put that in until I painted these bits, and I'll paint all the piano keys while this is out on that bit. And then you've got all like these are the organ pipes as well. They've all got to be painted. So there's just a lot of work here, loads and loads of work. So yeah, it's not going to be an overnight jobby this. It's probably take as long as the immolator did. But you know, we made a start, it's getting there. So I'm going to go cameras up. Geoffrey says it looks very nice, Lindsay, thank you. Ethel says each layer gives it definition, Lindsay. It certainly does. It certainly does, Ethel. So yeah, I've got a frozen camera somehow. I wonder how that happened. Yeah, so I've got a frozen camera. Yeah, it's definitely frozen. So I'll go down on this bottom one. Sophie says, thank you for a great live stream, Lindsay. Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone coming in. Much appreciated. And yeah, if you've enjoyed the stream, give it the old big thumbs up. Much appreciated. Thank you everyone that actually came in the chat. Jeff, you cracked me up tonight. You really did. Yeah, the people who are watching in the background, I appreciate you coming in. If anybody's got a device that's watching in the background that you can actually give the thumbs up, be much appreciated, guys. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please take a look. And if you like what you see, yeah, give it a subscription and push the notification bell. I don't just do Warhammer, I do other kinds of stuffs. So yeah. Geoffrey says, thanks all, it was good times. David Markey says, thank you for a great stream. You're welcome, guys. So all in all, I'm going to say good night. I can't go up camera because it's frozen. So yeah, I've got to sort it out now. So bye bye for now, guys. See you all soon. Ta-da. Spring Blue says, a lovely peaceful stream. Nice, Lindsay. Sophie says, thank you for putting up with my silly questions. There's no such thing as a silly question, Sophie. So bye guys. Bye.